Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Interesting Ideas. I'm Stan Houston. It's Friday, just a week before the Christmas holidays, and we all look forward to that, but that means it's a busy time. I oftentimes encourage people to say, see if you can't just slow down just a bit. There's a lot of busyness, but why don't you intentionally just quiet down, slow down, and take it softer this year? In fact, it might turn out to be one of the best Christmas times you've ever had. I've experimented with that a number of times, and let's see where it goes. By the way, that sounder is one I play often. It is from the BBC. It's no longer the sounder they use, but for years, that was it. Lillibro, as it was called. And I like to play it as part of my classic sounders on what I hope will be a program that has a touch of nostalgia, and certainly an excellence is our aspiration, part of what we do. A number of years ago, I was invited to be a part of a workshop at the BBC, and it was more than that. It was about 6 weeks, and I went from where we were living at that time in Amsterdam, working with Trans World Radio and doing some work with Radio Netherlands, and was able to get to know many of the people in the BBC, both the local, that is, the BBC for Great Britain, and of course for the BBC World Service, well known. And learned a great deal, loved the experience, loved the city of London, and one of the good things that happened to me. But the point of the future is just about 3 days ago, I caught an article that was published, and in effect, now the Director General, that's what they call him, Director General of the BBC, has announced that his goal is that the BBC will no longer be on the air, the huge towers and transmitters that has become their symbol. They will be on the internet. They will, in effect, try and make sure that they reach people a much easier and certainly a perhaps a less expensive way is they'll reach the world and reach their audience on the internet. Well, this can change everything. And I pointed that out because I'm encouraging people to understand, particularly in the traditional broadcasting, that the days of doing radio are not numbered, but the days of doing radio the traditional way may be numbered. In effect, when I get into my car, which has now been recently equipped with the latest stuff, of course, satellite radio, internet radio, I can listen to all of those things on demand by simply pressing a button, including the BBC World Service. And it's because it's not being broadcast, because it's being streamed or internet or, well, you know, what we do all the time with that new technology. So that's a significant part of what is happening. And so I want to pass that on to you because we are hopefully a little bit prophetic and a little bit ahead of the times, because we are encouraging not only traditional radio stations to learn how to do podcasting and then combine it with video, and then, of course, find a way where they can truly reach their audience. And by the way, it's not only radio stations. Every company, every organization is going to have in their marketing mix. Dead tree marketing is dead. The old paper brochures and flyers, not so much anymore. You're going to be performing on the internet, on the radio internet, on the video internet, and so you better learn how to do it well, and we can help you do just that. I think we can. We do it well. Just reach out to us at stanhouston@gmail.com, and hopefully we can help you face the future that way. Hey, today I'm just going to share something that caught me because I deal with it. I help people overcome failure. And I've failed many times myself. And will probably do so again. In fact, I'm sure I will. And so, how do you deal with failure? And I've got quite a lot of thinking about that. But I loved the simple word that came across from what's called the Playbook by Praxis. The Playbook by an organization, kind of a ongoing organization devoted to helping people practice good stuff. And their chief operating officer, his name is Mitchell. And he wrote, "Failure is a feature, not a bug." Failure is a feature, not a bug. And I'd like to talk about that briefly on Friday. I'd like to just share his words of wisdom with you. And hopefully they'll be helpful to you as you're seeking to end the year well. And as we say, 23 has already begun, so get ready, get going, go now. Interesting ideas. The program begins right now.
'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free.
One of the things I've always liked is the ability to see people who have a good line, a good, catch line. Something like this happened for me. I was working with a gentleman, helping him. The family business was in real trouble. And they had worked hard to pull it out, but there were just so many things going wrong, and it wasn't their fault. And they were open, but, the demographics had changed, it's a retail operation, and all of that had changed, and the market had changed. And this rather exclusive but very good little family store that had been around for almost 3 generations was liable to go under. And as I was trying to encourage him, I said simply, and it just came out of me. I'd never said it before. I said, sometimes it seems that adversity is part of the plan. Adversity is part of the plan. It took me and took him back a bit, but then showing his grit and courage, he said, "Well, I guess we're right on plan." Going through adversity. Well, that's the same kind of response I had when I read this by Mitchell from Praxis. Failure is a feature, not a bug. And this story I had known before. In fact, I've told some of these stories before, but I love the way he put it together. And it's always a good reminder. Again, as my mentor Earl Nightingale said, not all of us need educating, but we all need reminding. Before Walt Disney ever produced a major motion picture, he dropped out of school to join the Army. But because he was underage, he was rejected. Shortly after, Disney set out to pursue a career as a newspaper artist, but eventually he was laid off. Though rumor has it he was fired for not being creative enough. Later, Disney launched his first animation studio called Laugh-O-Grams Studio. But after only a couple of years, the company became insolvent, forcing Walt Disney to declare bankruptcy. Months later, Disney partnered with his brother to found Disney Brothers Studio, which is better known today as, of course, the Walt Disney Company. Disney went on to win 22 Oscars over the course of his career. And, of course, the Walt Disney Company is now valued over $170 billion. Yeah. But failure was a feature. Decades before McDonald's served over 1 billion hamburgers, Ray Kroc was scraping by, navigating a series of different jobs in his career, from pianist to music director to real estate agent. Eventually, Kroc found a temporary career stability as a traveling salesman, selling paper cups, and later, Mighty Mixer milkshake machines. Mighty Mixer milkshake machines. That's a good name. Which is how he met Richard and Maurice McDonald. The McDonald brothers rejected Kroc's early attempts to franchise, but Kroc persisted. Finally, in 1955, at the age of 52, Kroc opened the first McDonald's franchise location. And of course, at the time of his death in 1984, McDonald's had grown to 7,500 locations across 31 countries. And of course, today, McDonald's operates nearly 39,000 locations worldwide and is valued at over $200 billion. Failure is a feature, not a bug. When he was just a boy, Thomas Edison developed scarlet fever, which resulted in permanent partial deafness. As a teen, Edison took an apprenticeship as a telegrapher when Morse code was inscribed on paper. In a few short years, telegraph technology evolved from paper to auditory art, leaving Edison at a disadvantage. Though it's also rumored this setback provided inspiration for later work. At age 19, Thomas Edison was hired as an employee by Western Union to work on the newswire for the Associated Press. But barely a year later, legend has it, Edison was fired when he spilled sulfuric acid on the floor while conducting experiments after hours. Of course, Edison would go on to launch his own entrepreneurial venture as an inventor, garnering much fame and fortune, not only for his eventual successes, but also for his failures. A number of you know where this story is going, but let's hear it again. It's alleged Edison's attempted thousands of experiments to find the proper filament for the incandescent light bulb before achieving success. Similarly, his attempts to invent a rechargeable battery involved over 10,000 experiments. As early biography recounts, Edison's perspective toward his failures was this: when an associate asked him, "Isn't it a shame that with a tremendous amount of work you've done, you haven't been able to get any results?" Well, of course, Edison replied, "Results? Why, man, I've gotten lots of results. I know several thousand things that won't work." Which is the perfect setup to explain today's play, which is failure as a feature. The individuals above share a documented history with failure. Even beyond the examples we highlighted, each encountered significant setbacks in their journeys, yet somehow went on to achieve outsized success. Sure, their stories sound inspirational, but what immediate insights can you apply to your own goals and dreams and visions? Look no farther or look no further than today's play, Failure as a Feature. Today's play is not about glorifying failure. Instead, it's about channeling it. The people above all encountered setbacks. Well, who doesn't? But what sets them apart is that their setbacks did not become the defining chapter of their stories. In spite of their failures, they stayed in the ring, they kept taking punches, and eventually their persistence paid off. You see, openness enables you to benefit from it so you can improve your chances on the next attempt. Sometimes that lesson may be to try again, sometimes it may be to try something different, sometimes it may be to work harder, or any other number of lessons. The important part to remember here is that failure plays a part in any great success story. Don't just let it be the end of the story. Walt Disney once said all our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent won't. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Ray Kroc. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. All these are stories which most of you have heard before. But as I said, sometimes it's just good, particularly because times are tough right now. We're going to enter a recession. People are getting laid off. Prices are going to go higher. And me and my businesses and you and your careers, we're going to face some tough times in 23. Failure is a feature, not a bug. And so embrace it. And whenever it happens, go to my friend E. Stanley Jones, who mentored me, who said that the key to his great success in mission, church, and every other aspect of his life was the lesson that God gave him that, you know what? Everything that happens to you, everything that comes to you can in some way be useful to you. And then as my daughter Megan would say when she wrote the book, How to Be Useful, and she simply said, you know what? As a young woman who went to New York to seek her fortune, she learned a key lesson, a hard lesson, a tough lesson. Success went to those people who learned not how to be cute and clever and all of that good stuff. They learned how to be useful. Useful is a feature of success. I'm Stan Houston. These have been just a few interesting ideas. I hope they have been helpful to you. Think about them. Give me a few minutes to come back to you, and we'll close it out for this Friday. Interesting Ideas with Stan Houston. Thank you for listening. We do a number of things, and we're doing even more things. We will be putting together a new project called the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience. It's a resurrected project because when COVID hit, we failed. It stopped. We failed. Didn't make it. But we're starting over again. We've made some adjustments. We've got some wisdom and some stuff that will help. Those of you who are truly committed to the faith will find that in the person, not just in the lessons and life, but in the very person and personality, you can learn some of the key success tactics, thoughts, and strategies of the master entrepreneur, which you can put into your life and business. So why don't you stay tuned for more about the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience. StanHouston@gmail.com, StanHouston@gmail.com. Right now, there's about 2 or 3 people who are contacting me to, in 23, be through the internet and through the technology, to be a business performance coach to them in their new ventures. And I would be more than happy to audition for yours, and perhaps you can audition back to me, and we'll see where that might be. But we always know, and again, adversity is part of the plan, and failure is just a feature. It's not a bug, and it's not a disaster, and it's only an end if you make it so. Best and blessings, because whatever you do, bless others. Always close with a benediction. Bye for now.
'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill